What's up guys, it's Missy. I'm back with another SimCity Buildit video. This is going to be a hopefully quick video about two problems that I'm noticing with people this week, and I don't know if it's just something I didn't clarify in the guide itself, and that many people are going to be experiencing this, miscommunication. But I wanted to go ahead and get the video uploaded right away, clarify it, and then later today when I have some time, I'll go in and edit the guide if it's not, if it doesn't fit what this is supposed to mean. I don't know if this is just like people are just confused and they're not reading the guide properly, or if I didn't clarify it in the guide. So I will fix it if I need to. But let me start off with saying that each and every time that you guys get confused, here's the thing. We've talked about main tasks versus rotatable tasks, right? Now, everybody gets at that point where they do their assignments and they're looking at their list and they're seeing obvious choices. They're seeing, oh, that's the obvious choice. But then they get to a point where all of a sudden the choice is no longer obvious. And they go, okay, this is where it gets interesting. And they start to think what to do. Now, at that point, I don't know what wheels start spinning and what wheels don't. But all wheels need to be spinning right now, okay? You need to be looking at everything. And the very first thing that you do is you go down the list and you compare and tell yourself, like, what do you know? And you start to cross things off and rearrange things and do what you can. And eventually it starts to happen almost immediately. You can look at a list and just pick it out, Now, what I've noticed is two people that have roughly the same list made the same mistake. And that to me was interesting because it was a mistake that I couldn't understand how they made it. I don't understand the logic behind their thought process. So the first person that made the mistake, I thought, well, maybe it was just a one person thing. And then it was like the second person, and we've only had CoM going like 8 hours. So I want to make sure that this isn't something a lot of people are doing. And if they are, that I correct it. Okay, so last night I was sent some screenshots, and they asked me if they should do their 800 war assignment at the bottom of their list. But they had better options available, but they were trying to open up opportunity. Now, if that war card was higher, like let's say a legendary or a rare attack, I would have even, then I could have seen why they considered it. But with the 800 and it being at the bottom of the list, it wouldn't even be on my radar. That would have been the last thing that I would have picked under their current circumstances. So at what point do you pick it? Well, you pick it when you hit reverse rotation. When you start to get a list full of items that you can't do. Like, let's say you get a ton of upgrades, ton of factory tasks that are super long and low points, stuff like that. And you're running out of rotatable options. That's when you rotate in things like coins and low war attacks. Now, if it was a legendary attack for 1200, then we'd be talking different, because that's a high premium, right? And it has the ability to open up something really good. Whereas like the common war attack for 800, that's a huge point hit, especially when you have so many other better options available to you, right? So then you have to consider holding that 800 value, the 800 points value. Now, one of them had a epic for 800 and a legend or a common war card for 800. Those are actually in good spots, because that means that if he gets, like, let's say other war cards, they're going to have the likelihood of being rare or legendary, which increases his odds of getting those types of war cards or war assignments versus the one that he already has in his list, which is 800. So, I mean, I don't see what led them to that decision. And after talking to him, it was like they thought, well, they could open up better opportunities. So they were applying the knowledge that they had that should have been towards like a legendary card or even a rare card, and applying it to a common 800 attack. Do not do that, okay? The second mistake is when to rotate in the VU task. This seems to be a big problem for people, understanding when they should do it and when they shouldn't do it, because the rules used to be simpler. It used to just be anytime it was in your list for 1,000, you did it so that you had the opportunity of it to come back. Now it's much different. So here's the thing. As long as that 1K VU sits, you have zero opportunity of it coming in worth any other points value, right? But you don't want to continue to clear it, and have it come in worth a 1,000 points value. So what you do at this point is you say, okay, well, how can I increase my odds of getting it to come in higher without dropping my average by doing it consistently? So the solution is really quite simple when you think about it. You would do it when you have nothing else available, right? Like when your main tasks are all taken up and you begin rotation. Then you say, okay, now I have this option where it's like I have a 1,600 Paris and then I've got a 1,000 VU. So right here, she's got a 1,600 Paris, a 1,200 nails, 1,500 coins, 1K VU, right? Which choice would be the best option? Points-wise, Paris. Opportunity-wise, at what point should she rotate in the VU? Well, right now, she's got very low point values. So there is room for it to come back with a high point value. As long as she continues to ignore it, it will continue to be non-existent. So at what point do you test the waters? This would be the first time she would have launched her VU this round, so she hasn't even tested the waters to see if it's going to do good or bad yet. So now she would look at her average and she would say, well, can I afford to take a little bit more of a hit? Right now, the Paris is probably going to need done anyways, right? But at what point do you say, I'm going to sacrifice those 600 points and say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do the VU and see if I can open up anything better? Technically, this is a decision here where there's two good answers. If she does the Paris, I understand why she did Paris. If she does Paris and she gets something kind of shitty, in return, and then goes down the line and does coins, then she makes mistakes, right? If she does VU, I understand why why she did the VU. Because she's trying to open up better opportunity and she hasn't done it yet. So this is one of those tricky situations where you weigh out risk versus reward. Do you take the risk to hopefully get rewarded later? Or do you take a little bit more of the cake right now, but still not even meeting the amount that you need and ending up having to do that task in a couple tasks anyways, not opening up any better opportunity? So I would say Paris is no. I would definitely go with the VU under these circumstances. Now, if that Paris was 2,400 points, that would be a whole different story, because now it's meeting her 2K average, right? So it's when you stop having obvious choices, when your main tasks are gone and you begin rotation. That is when you assess when you should rotate out low premiums versus higher non-premiums. As long as they don't meet that 2K threshold, you should begin the low premium rotation and leave what you would consider a high non-premium, which would be like a 1,600 repair or something, right? Even a 2,400 repair, the only reason you would be doing it is because it meets the threshold and it's holding up one of your chairs, so to speak. So if you're any bit confused about when to rotate in the VU, that's when you do it. When you don't have any obvious choice and you've already tried it. Now you haven't tried it yet. Now, how many times should you try it? Well, that depends. Let's say you do a launch 1 VU and it comes back within 3 tasks as a launch 1 VU. I probably wouldn't touch it again for a while. But if it comes back after maybe 15 or 20 tasks worth 1K, I might consider maybe it might be good to me again later on, depending on the circumstances. If you did it and it comes back worth 2K and then 3K and then you get another 1K, then it was good to you. You had opportunity it still did treat you good, right? So at what point do you allow it to sit? Well, you would allow it to sit if you are doing it and it keeps coming back worth 1,000 points. Don't continue to do it. It will drop your average. If it came back almost instantly and worth 1,000, don't touch it for a while, because it's decided what it's going to do to you, and you don't want to get thrown into a loop. Okay, just a couple of things here, you guys. Like, a lot of you guys are always super worried about canceling. Think about it like this. For every 2 1,000 point tasks you do, it's like a cancellation, okay? Because that's something that a lot of people don't realize. So really have that sink into what I just said to you. If you think about this for just a brief moment, people that are always really hard on themselves about having to cancel, if you see that you're going to have to do 2 1,000 point tasks or more than 2 1,000 point tasks because you did not cancel, then the odds of you having the same average is pretty high, right? So, like, let's say you have 2 people, same exact list, okay? Same exact list, same exact results. And I say, okay, you're going to cancel and open up opportunity for better things to happen. But I look at the other person and I say, you're not going to cancel and you're going to do 2 1,000 point tasks, thereby dropping your average 2,000 points, costing yourself an entire assignment, realistically. So essentially, it's like you canceled, but you did 2 assignments, right? Now, think about it like this. If you would have canceled, you would have been down 2,000 points on your average, and it would have costed you a whole assignment, right? Now, it's cost you 2 assignments, and you're down 2K on your average. Okay? So, I mean, what you really have to ask yourself, I guess, is, do you think that if you cancel, that the risk outweighs the reward, or vice versa? You know, do you think that you will get better stuff to happen if you cancel? And if you think that you would have better things happen, then you should cancel. Now, what you got to watch for is, if you cancel too many times, especially in a really quick, short time period, the game has a tendency to continue to screw you over, right? So you want to try as hard as you can not to cancel more than 2 or 3 times in one round of the contest. But sometimes that's just not, avoidable. If you're looking at the leaderboard and you're seeing that, like, other players, their scores aren't very high either, it's probably something that's going on with the game. Like, everybody's experiencing that. I can't tell you how creepy it is, how identical their lists are. From the start, they were identical. They both, I mean, it's crazy. It's almost like I'm looking at the same exact list, even in the order and the points values. It's nuts. They both have the 800 war card. They both have the Paris for 16, the chems, the coins, the everything. It's all the same. And now some of these things, yeah, okay, they're always in your list, but they're not always in your list worth the same value. And especially in that order, and especially at this time in the game, so it's definitely interesting to watch when I see everybody sending in their screenshots and it's like everybody's at the same point in the game. It's crazy. But hopefully that clears up some of the confusion for you guys. Now, for those of you guys who are confused about Contest of Mayors prep and how to prep the shops, when to clear the items that are in your shops. So one of my trainees was having some issues with when to clear her stuff and when to prep, and I don't know why she was under this impression, but she was, so I wanted to clarify in case anybody else is also confused. But basically what was going on with her is she had prepped 20 feed the night before the contest. First off, I don't know why she only prepped 20. She should have prepped 40, okay? 20 doesn't do you any good. Now, if you have an assignment for glass and, you wanted to prep the the second half, like you got an assignment for 47 and you prepped the 10 first, that makes sense. But the night before the contest, you should have prepped all of them, right? Now, the next thing is the shop itself, what to prep, right? And when to collect. So here's a mistake that she made. She had prepped paint, okay? And within the first couple minutes of the contest, she picked everything up because she was under the impression that you prep everything and then you check your list, and if you don't have what you prepped, you go ahead and collect. No, that is not what you do. You are prepping so you have them available if you get a task. Now, what you do to avoid not being able to make any money is you use the yellow arrows above the shop. Now, she had never heard me say this. So again, this is where I'm pulling my hair out going, how are you not hearing me when I'm saying this in so many videos? So for those of you who did not hear me the first 9,000 times, sit up in your chair, pay attention, open your ears, and listen. Okay. Look, man. Missy's going gray over here. Gray and bald. Okay. So you picked an item. Hopefully you picked an item that was, I don't know, took at least a little while to make, or that you felt you actually could get a task for. So you picked paint, and you've got 11 paint done, right? And you want your shop to be working on something. So you decide you're going to pick up one paint and put one down. That way you have 10 ready for pickup and one making at all times, right? Well, how do you do this without collecting your items? There's two ways to do it, okay? You're either going to have to click on the shop before it that doesn't have anything prepped, which you should have all shops prepped, so that's going to be hard. If you're a high-level player, you can click on like the fast food store because you're not really prepping anything there because it goes too quick. Or you can click on maybe if you stored, I know that they used to let us click on our holiday stores when we were doing the holiday stuff. But regional stores, you know, I don't think they're allowing us to store those and move those over. I know when we first got regional maps, we were allowed to, but I don't think we're allowed to anymore. I know we can put our shops on the regional maps, but you guys don't have regional, so it doesn't matter anyways. But what you're going to do is you're going to click on the shop before it, okay? And you're going to use these yellow arrows to guide. And as long as you pick up the one, you can have 11 being done. So you can only have 11 at one time, whether it be 11 completed or 10 completed and one being made, or vice versa, you know, all number combos. But you can only have 11 items within the shop at any one time. So if you are having trouble with the fact that you have all of your shops are full and you can't click the arrows, you can't click on the shop without collecting all the items, then the next way around that is to max out your storage. Okay, so if you're close to max storage, buy some stuff on the global market, come back to your game, open your shop, because now you're maxed out. It'll open up the shop and you'll be able to put down what you need to put down. Note that once you put that down, whatever items amount that it costs to make that item is now free and available. So let's say that you put down paint, right? You opened up 5 spaces with putting down 1 paint. So remember that if you were to, let's say, try that tactic and click on another shop, you'll have to go buy more stuff or collect something, okay? Because you just cleared some space. But that is the easiest way to go about it, is to max out your storage, which a lot of people usually have this issue anyways, right? So it usually works out pretty well. And another good thing would be, another tip for you guys, is try to do all of your shops at once, right? So what you can do is you can say, okay, I've got all my shops here and I've got all of the materials required to put down each and every item that I need to make. So like, let's say that I needed to place 1 flour, 1 smoothie, 1 paint, 1 hammer, 1 grass, and so forth. Okay, what I would do if I was you is I would say, okay, I'm gonna go let's say I needed 5 items. I had to pick up 5 items. I would leave 5 space in total, right? I would come back to my map. I would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would collect each one. I would collect my 1 flower, my 1 smoothie, you know, 1 of each from each shop. Now I'm at max storage. Okay, then I click on the 1, I open it up. I place my item, I click the arrow, I place my item, click the arrow, place my item. Now I've been able to do all my shops without having to go back and forth on the global market. And there I can get everything done and squared away and set up. Now, at what point do you start rotating out other items for assignments that you have? So, for instance, you prepped paint, but you have a assignment for nails. Do not prep the nails. They go way too fast. Okay, don't. She did that mistake yesterday too. She cleared out 11 paint to prep a 1200 nails task that was like 10 nails. Don't do that, okay? Because now if you get a paint task, now you have no paint to collect and you just wasted all that time, and nails go too fast, okay? Nails are so quick that there's no sense in prepping them to save time, okay? You just cost time. So, but let's say that it's like shoes versus caps, right? So you prepped caps, but you have a shoes task. And you know that you're not going to be getting to it, you know, right away, but you know you're going to need to. You do not collect all the caps and place shoes down unless you're ready to do that assignment and put it on a token. What you would do is you would collect 1 cap, place 1 shoe. 1 cap, 1 shoe, 1 cap, 1 shoe. And you do that until you've completely slowly rotated them out, because let's say you've made 2 shoes and you get a assignment for caps that is higher than the shoes. Now you have to throw away the 2 shoes that you made and proceed on and collect the caps that you still have and then make the caps. This allows you to not have to clear out an entire shop worth of stuff, thereby forcing you to either toss away all the items that you made or basically have to do an assignment that you shouldn't be doing because you had to take it with a lower value. This avoids that problem from happening. Now, this happens more often than not. You prep 1 item and you get an assignment for another. You start prepping that item and you get an assignment for the one that you had already prepped for. It happens a lot. So do not clear them all at once, okay? Now, I know that for a lot of people, this can get kind of confusing. So you guys just pay really close attention to what I'm telling you. You need to have 10 items ready like this at all times from every shop. The same item, not 2 shovels, 2 saps, 2 whatever, you know, no, the same item. So pick an item, stick with it, okay? And you're going to continue making that item. And if you get an assignment for something different, then you're going to rotate them out 1 at a time unless it's your next assignment. If you were to say, well, shoes is my next assignment, I'm going to rotate them out 1 at a time. That's pointless, right? You are working on shoes. You've already started the task. There's no sense in that. If you know you're not going to be working on anything else, then nothing else has the opportunity to come in. So what's the point in holding off, right? So you would clear all those items out, start your shoes, smack them on a token, and go about life, okay? Now, what items should you prep? I'm going to give you some ideas. Don't prep nails, don't prep bricks, and don't prep, nails and bricks are usually out unless you're a lower level player and that's all you have unlocked, of course, right? Then you would prep bricks because they take longer. A lot of people get tasks for glue and paint and, you know, cement and planks, they do too, but a lot of people get the glue and the planks, I would say. Paint is, the reason I say paint is because usually it's required for a lot of the VU repairs, so it's definitely handy to have, so you benefit there, but also because it takes a long time and at least it shaves off a lot of time, whereas planks don't take as long. So, you know, it's kind of like you kind of want to go with something at least 30 minutes or higher when you do your prep. For example, the donut shop. If you want to prep donuts, yeah, you can, but how often do you receive donut tasks? You know, I would prep something probably like smoothies are more frequent, but they go a little quicker, right? But I might also prep bread rolls if you guys have bread rolls unlocked. That is another really common assignment for higher value. If you are looking at your barn here, don't prep veggies. If you are going to prep something quick, at least have it be your moneymaker and have it be flour. I would prep probably melons or cream and even maybe corn, you know, something like that. When it comes to the hardware shop, you know, a lot of people have been getting the spatulas task particularly this week, so you might want to prep those. But I think, you know, I see a lot of shovels tasks. I really do. Shovels and tapes. A lot of people need hammers for flights, but as far as like the production, I do see ladders and shovels quite a bit. Tapes is another one. Here, I would say, I don't know, man. I think I see grass almost more than saps, but it goes so quick that I would tell people to make saps over grass because they go, you can make one grass in like, what, 24 minutes or something. Lawn chairs is another really popular one that I see a lot of tasks for, so I would probably prep either saps or lawn chairs. Chairs or tables? Well, you know, that's a tough one. I think I see more chairs tasks by far than tables, and it won't take up your planks. You shouldn't be making tables anyways. They're not a good money maker in terms of that. You know, chairs are a way better money maker than tables. Blue textiles are good if you are a level 25 player. I believe that's when you unlock those. Then you've got the fast food shop, which you wouldn't really prep anything there. Okay, so shoes and caps. Caps turn a higher profit than shoes because you don't have to make the glue, right? But I would say you probably get more tasks for shoes, and the tasks for shoes are usually higher, right? So it's a tough one. I also see a lot of watches tasks, but those are usually pretty low value. So I would probably prep shoes. Okay. Here I would prep TVs, microwaves, bulbs. Usually TVs though is what I make because they're not only the higher profit item, but I seem to get TV tasks a lot. Okay. So as far as this goes, here's a couple of tips on your factory prep. So usually if you're a level 24 and below player, I tell them to prep feed, okay? Because it has a higher chance of being worth 2,000 points or better versus the glass or anything else, and it takes quite a while, right? So there's that. But let's say that you're beyond the first initial prep, like maybe it's like the second day of the contest and you already have a feed assignment in your list worth a low value. What do you prep then? Well, if you're going to bed, you prep. If you think that you may have to do that feed, then you should prep that. But here's a little tip for you guys. If you have some extra downtime in your day and you want to fill up half of your factories, you should prep 2 things that you don't have that you think you may need to do. What this means is this. Let's say that you have a chems task at a very low value. You're not going to prep chems, okay? We've discussed this. But let's say that you have a sugars task that's like 1,700, 1,800 points. You know you may need to do it eventually, and it needs 2 rounds of sugar. What you should do is prep the second half of the sugar. Now, we've talked about this many times, but let's say that you also have a task for glass, okay? And you know you're going to be off the game for a while. You could prep the second half of the glass and the second half of the sugar so that when the time comes, you can decide which one you want to do, right? Try to be creative with your prep and try to think ahead. You know, you don't want to block anything. You don't want to say, well, I prepped all 40 items, or I got 10 going for each one. No, because then if you get like a wood task or something, then you're not going to be able to do it. So you want to leave 15 to 20 factory slots open during the day so that you can do your metal and wood and plastic tasks if they pop up. But if you're able to prep 2 rounds of something different, then go ahead, you know. Just be careful what you place down, because you don't want to end up stuck waiting on 10 glass to finish or something stupid like that. Okay? If you think that you may need to do the minerals relatively soon and you want to shave off an hour, go ahead and prep the minerals. You know, like for instance, I have somebody right now, they have an 1100 minerals task in their list, and I see them needing to rotate it within the next probably 2 or 3 tasks, depending on what they get. So do they need to clear everything out right now? Is it like, oh my God, super important? No, it's only an hour, but you know, it sucks when you have to wait an hour. People are impatient, they want to get shit done. And if you could be working on it now, then go ahead. But don't clear out, you know, like 20 feed prematurely just to save you 30 minutes in prep. You know what I mean? So you got to be careful when you do things like that, because you don't want to do something like that and then get smacked with, oh shit, shouldn't have done that because now I got a feed task, right? Okay, so hopefully this stuff kind of cleared things up for you guys, but I want to do a practice task assessment again to show you guys kind of the routine of things, okay? And my list is not ideal because it's for a high-level player, right? It's not for a low-level player, so it's a little different than your guys's. So I'm going to use somebody else's list as an example, okay? All right, give me a second. I'm going to pause this video. All right, you guys. I am going to have to actually end the video here because I'm having issues with my phone, but I am going to pick up where we left off in another video. As soon as I get the pictures saved and get the phone going up again, we'll do the task assessment and walk through it, and I'll do a couple different task assessments, because right now I'm getting really pissed off at this phone. So, but basically you guys just go through the top of your list and say, okay, you know, this is the best thing, this is this and that, and you just compare and just keep going. Take what you know, crossing things off, and then you'll get it down to a couple of tasks that are okay that you can do, and then you compare those tasks, you know. So if you get it down to 2 different ones, then you say what you know about each one. Okay? All right, you guys.